Hi guys, good day. Mark here again, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel and loves DIYs and loves cars, please consider subscribing and check out my playlist. Alright, so on today's video, we'll just have a quick discussion. I'm sure a lot of you guys will bash me on this video, but might as well give you guys an idea on this particular topic.
A few moments later.
Alright, so on this video, I'm gonna talk to you about on why should you not install a cold air intake on your car. Alright, so cold air intake are actually installed on cars from your throttle body, and it goes about right here. Okay, now the idea would be is it sucks more air, cold air, um, towards your engine because the engine runs better with cold air. Okay, so um, why should you not install it? One, okay, so I'll give you guys some ideas that you could think of on why should you not install a cold air intake. Okay, so number one, the original air filter that we have are designed by engineers to basically have a great filtration effect to protect your engine. Number two, aside from the filtration effect, the sensors, the computers are calibrated with the air volume that passes through your airbox towards your intake system. Okay. Number three, the aside from the sensors, the computer itself is calibrated to this specific configuration. So if you modify anything, like especially the air filter, if you change it with cold air intake, the bolt-on ones, the universal ones, then it messes up your sensor, since the volume, the pressure, the temperature, it will be different compared to your um, stock airbox. Okay. All right. So of course, you'll say why a lot of people are installing cold air intake on their car. Okay, so I'll give you guys an idea why. So yes, cold air intake works on a race car, on a modified engine. Why? Because when mechanics install cold air intakes on a modified engine or in a race car, they actually uses dynamometer, a fine gas tuner, and a whole lot more. So if you're gonna use a cold air intake on a stock engine with stock computer box, stock sensors, then it's useless. You might damage your engine, damage your sensor, and your engine might run a little bit worse than it used to. Okay. All right. So next, from the name itself, it says cold air intake. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys if it's a cold air intake, the universal ones, okay, the bolt-ons. They say it's a cold air intake. The filter goes here. Now, if the filter goes here, if your hood is closed, then only hot air circulates on your engine bay. So instead of cold air being sucked in, it's gonna suck in very hot air. So it beats the purpose or the idea of a cold air intake. The cold air intake doesn't basically stop here. If you see race cars or drag cars, they do have like funnels in front of their headlight, the front of their bumper. that's actually the funnel that goes in the cold air intake. So it's gonna suck cold air towards the engine. And if you do that on a stock engine, stock computer box, I'm pretty sure that you'll mess up your engine because the volume, the cold air volume that is coming in, um, will not be is or your computer box is not designed to handle that volume, and as a result, um, your engine will run lean because the injectors needs to be modified if you modify your cold air intake because of the increase of volume in air. Of course, you'll need to increase the size of your injectors, okay? And also the injector pumps should be modified as well so that you'll be able to calibrate the performance of your engine, okay? There's no such thing as bolt-on cold air intake. um, Everything, a lot of things needs to be considered and modified, okay? So if you do that, the cold air intake, the headlight, the funnel one with the long tube, if you do that using a stock engine, you'll mess up your engine. If you run lean on your engine, it will cause overheat, premature detonation, and basically destroy your engine, okay? So yes, cold air intake will sound really good because of the large opening on the tube and stainless, the colors, etc. It will look good performance wise. Even if you gain power, it's not that big, okay? But in the long run, you'll just be spending money for the repairs of your sensors and whatever on your engine. So that's my take on the universal cold air intake that are bolt on. Um, think of it, guys. If you put a cold air intake, it the end of the intake ends up in within your engine bay. Um, that's not gonna suck in cold air. It's just gonna suck in hot air inside the engine bay. If you notice, the stock airbox, the end of the airbox is as close to the front of the engine as possible, so it can suck cold air right here. Okay, versus the cold air intake that are right here. Okay, so it's gonna suck in the air within your engine bay, which is hot compared to this, especially if you're moving. Cold air will go directly to the end of this tube towards your airbox. Okay, though the volume is not as many as the cold air intake, at least you'll be sucking in cold air instead of the cold air intake, but instead it's sucking in more hot air towards your engine. Okay, but that's only my opinion, guys. If you still want to, or if you have your cold air intake installed to your vehicle, I am not against it. It's your car, it's your engine, but that's my opinion. Okay. All right, so that's my opinion, guys. Again, I have nothing against the people that installed cold air intake on their engines or planning to buy cold air intake on their engines. So it's your car, your engine. It's up to you guys. I just said my opinion or my take on installing universal cold air intake on your engine without calibrating the computer box, the fuel injectors, the injector pumps, tuning the fine gas that's going in your engine. So for me, in my opinion, instead of me buying universal cold air intake for about 2,000, 3,000 pesos, I'm just gonna use that money to buy a better spark plug or maybe a better grade of oil or basically a better filter elements like performance air filters like K&N. You still have money left to basically spend for your next maintenance, or basically um, accessorizing your car instead of buying that universal cold air intake. So I hope you guys find this useful. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Again, this is Mark. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. See you on the next one.